Are you sure you're not muted? Hmm.
Oh shit.
Oh, I hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, you hear me now?
Yeah, I can
Ah,
hear
good.
you.
Good.
Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Oh man, I was getting worried, Earl.
Respect, man.
Oh man.
Sorry about that, man.
No, no. Don't
I'm
be
not
sorry.
very, I'm not very, technical thing. Literally.
I'm not
I'm not
either.
literally. No,
I'm
my
not really
sons do
that
it.
much.
My kids do that. That's my children stuff.
Well, I can't blame it on I can't blame it. I'm just not very good with computers, but the pandemic,
Yeah.
has forced us to communicate this way
Yeah.
more and more.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but during the pandemic, I was busy writing songs and voicing tunes and doing dub
Well,
plates.
I
Mainly
just want to say, I want to say, first of all, just Earl, greetings and good tidings. And I want to thank you
yeah,
so much for taking the time to do this. To do this with me. It's really an honor to speak with a singer of your stature. I've been listening to your music
yes,
for the entire month, but really today I've been grooving to. You have enough albums. I mean, over
oh
20.
my goodness.
So,
Yeah,
so there's enough music for me to choose from. So I've been grooving all day to your music, and I know, I really want to also thank you because I know it's getting late where you are. I'm in,
yeah.
as I know I'm in Los Angeles in La La Land,
What time
and
is it now?
it's
What time
right
is it
now.
in LA?
It's about 2 p.m. My time.
Oh yeah.
So I know it's
Mm.
getting to be later there, about 10 p.m. your time, and I
Yeah,
believe
no,
like.
but is the weather good? Is the weather good in LA?
Oh,
The weather is alright.
it's actually a little overcast today, which is never happens. So usually the
Yeah,
sun is
no.
always out, but it's a bit
It's
overcast
good. It's
today.
good. At least you don't have the forest fires and all that kind of stuff happening around.
Not
You
around
know,
us, up
and the
north in
rain.
Northern California. Yeah, we're in
Yeah,
Southern
man.
California right now. We're okay for right now, but I'm
Yeah,
always
thank God.
watching the news.
Give thanks. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
man. Yeah,
give
man.
thanks. Yeah, we give
No,
thanks.
no, man. They're cool, man. They're cool. They're cool. I used to
Uh,
run up around, run up and down, all them areas. But back in the days, I used to run up and down with a brethren called, Sunset Boulevard, Ital Joe, them Prince Ital Joe, and all these guys. I used to
did,
be back in the days. I used to roll around,
did
but
you ever did you ever perform at the Dub Club in Los Angeles?
no. Funny enough, the Dub Club, I was invited. I
Hmm.
was invited, but I think during the time, um, I had some problems with my passport, with my visas and stuff like that, and traveling.
Yeah.
But I think my brother Michael Prophet came and did that show.
Yeah,
Michael Prophet.
there's actually might be the show he did with scientists that people
Mm,
it's on YouTube and
yeah,
it's
man.
people still watch
Yeah,
that
man. Yeah.
show. And
Straight up, straight God. Oh man,
you
rest in
said
peace, man.
you said you were coming back from work, and it made me want to ask you whether you had a gig or a show you were referring to, or whether you were in the studio recording. What, if you don't mind me asking, what was the work that you had going on earlier today?
Not today.
Yeah, were you working in the
Not today. I
studio?
was just freelancing. I was working at Peloton, a
Okay,
company called Peloton. I make bikes. I build the bikes and build the treadmills and stuff.
okay,
You know,
um,
I freelance without being an artist and a producer and a recorder.
okay.
I'm spending my time doing something different.
Well, that's
Building up the health and intelligence of the people. Yeah, man.
respect,
I'm
respect.
working at Peloton, at a company called Peloton at the moment. Yeah, man.
Okay. Yeah, well, lots of people have been using that company, especially during the pandemic. Those have been those I know those
Ah,
have been
man.
selling.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. But I'm self-employed, so I free up myself and
Yeah. Well,
come
because
around.
I was curious because there's not much going on here in LA when in regards to reggae concerts or festivals or shows
Oh, dear,
because
dear,
of the
dear. Yeah, me
pandemic.
know.
No one's really. I was so lucky because the other day
It's scary.
scientists invited me to the studio the other day, and it was the
Wow.
first time I'd seen live music in months.
Okay, like a live recording.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah,
Yo,
he had the Soul Syndicate there.
You're
So
joking. You
yeah,
mean
yeah,
George and
yeah,
Santa and all that?
yeah, Santa,
Oh,
Tony, fully,
salute, salute,
would.
salute.
I have a bunch of footage, and so I'm gonna be working on a piece,
Fantastic.
and at some point
No, but I love that.
I'll send you that footage, Earl. You'll
Yes,
see it at
please.
some
Yes,
point.
please, Steve.
They're
Oh my goodness.
they're reuniting Soul Syndicate and working on some new music, new rhythms.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. They need to bring China, man. China is still around, still with us.
I actually was so lucky to interview Chinna right before the pandemic started in his yard. Yeah.
Oh,
So
in the yard, yeah. Sometimes
in his yard. So I would love to see Chinna. Actually, they did. Actually, Tony Chin told me that a few years ago they actually had some guy who Tony said his name goes by the name of Bushman. He actually flew Chinna up, and they recorded an album in the studio, and then he disappeared with all the master recordings.
Oh, freaking no. Oh, sugar. That's disgusting.
So
the normal thing in reggae music. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. But yeah.
So it's cool to see them in the studio again. Now, is it
good
okay
thanks,
for
man.
me?
We're still there.
And by the way, is it okay for me to call you Earl, or should I call you Mr. 16? What do you prefer?
No, Steve. Come on, Steve Cooper, man. I Earl my name, man. You know, no, funny enough, right?
Yeah.
My friend was putting out an album with me recently, in New York actually, and he said to me, Earl, listen, it's time for me to stop calling it Earl 16 on. So what is a new name that you could call me? So I said, you can just call me Ras Earl or Jed. And he said, nah, man, I'm gonna call you Jack Earl or something like that. He said something strange. I'm thinking, shit, I wonder if I'll still have my fans after I change my name.
I don't think you can change it. I don't think you can change it after you've had it for so long.
I have to, Steve, man. I'm changing it fast and quick. My
Wow.
son changed up my thing, man. Yeah,
wow.
Now I'm putting out, looking forward to put out an album called The Early Years.
Cool.
It's stuff that I did with Mikey Dread, Tubbies, Channel One and stuff, on my label, which is called Merge Production.
Yeah, cool.
I'm covering my stuff, covering my ass, covering my back, or whatever you call it. So
Wonderful.
all these tunes that I never get money from.
You're gonna start to try to. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Now I start press what I'm thinking. There's a man in there, Merge Production. You see.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
My label has been pumping around. I did a lot of stuff with a lot of artists. Roy Cousins, Augustus Pablo, and them man there.
For sure. And
I don't overdo my thing. I don't over push my limits. Because I know what it is, but I just want to keep my name active on Spotify and whatever.
Well, Earl, if it's okay with you,
yeah.
I want to push your bullet because you have such a discography.
When I listen what are you doing, Steve?
When I listen to your music, man, it brings me so much joy. And seriously, a man like yourself whose voice literally over 1,000 recorded tunes. I mean, like I said earlier, you have over 20 solo albums. You've collaborated with just about every famous producer and musician in reggae during a career that spans nearly half a century. Now, first, I want to ask more, and I'll ask you a bit later about more of what you're doing now musically. Like you just mentioned, you're going to be putting out a new album of some of your early works. And I want all the reggae fans to know about some of the new musical projects that you're involved in. But before we get there, if it's okay, Earl, I'd like to start with some of your early runnings, and ask you to clarify. Ask you to clarify some information, some biographical information, and also
on Wikipedia you're talking about. You're going back to Wikipedia.
Yeah, there's some stuff on Wikipedia I want to clarify. but
Oh,
also
Jesus.
beyond that, but beyond Wikipedia, because you've done some interviews, for example, that I know about with the, and I'll just recommend to all the people who are Earl 16 fans that they should go check out. There's an interview that was done in 1992 by David Katz, who's
Yes,
Lee
cat.
Scratch Perry's
Ray
biographer,
Hereford, and all
and
that.
Ray Herford, yeah,
Yes,
for
sir.
ReggaeVibes, who I write
Yeah, when I
for.
first come to England.
Yeah, 1992. And it's a very, very comprehensive interview, and every Earl 16 fan should definitely check out that interview.
Amazing. That was
But
really fantastic.
but I do want to clarify a few things, if it's okay, about some of those early tunes that were so historic, and to just clarify a few things about your history. I know from my research and some of the interviews that you have given that you began singing in earnest at about 13 years old, hanging out in the area of Waltham Park Road in Kingston, not far from an area that's known as Halfway Tree, which I know
Yes,
about
sir.
because I know that's close to where Chinna, where Chinna lives, is
Yeah, that's
near
where
Halfway
Skateland. We
Tree.
used to have a Skateland up there. It's called Skateland. You know? That's
Yeah,
where
but
we
what?
keep the first live. No, in Alpha we used to do a thing called the Skateland, where we used to go skating. And
Wow.
Skateland was one of the first places that recorded a live reggae album in Jamaica. A live dancehall, actually.
It
Not
was
a
a
reggae album, but
skate.
a live dancehall.
It
Live in the
was
dance with it was Skateland at Skateland Alpha Tree with a song called Volcano versus Gemini versus Kilimanjaro. It was a crazy, but it's a skateland, and it's a place that we
so
go to skate all the time. You know?
so it was a
It's a live album with
roller
Ika Mouse
skating.
and a lot of artists.
It was a. Let me ask: it was a roller skating park that had a sound system then?
It was a roller skating park with a sound system. Yes, sir. It was. Yeah,
Wow,
man. Alpha
that
Tree
would
was
be
one of the main
cool.
places, but I'm going way back. I'm gonna talk about way back, like you said, the 80s and everything. There, you see?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
that is so cool. And now it also, that area is known as that we're talking about is known as, also known as Kingston 11, if I'm not mistaken. Is that true? Would you refer to that area more?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, no. It's Kingston. It's like the middle class of Kingston, like the middle, not the middle. The Alpha Tree is like you call it uptown. You see,
Yeah.
like if you go Alpha Tree and go you go Crossroads. I go, from a leave Crossroad, you're going to a place called Sly Pen Road. You're going into a different area of Kingston. Kingston is just the capital of St. Andrew. You see, it's a capital. It's a country. It's a city.
And where you grew up was such a, where you, and at the time you were growing up, I think you've described that there were just, it was like a musical hub, that you
Oh
had
God, yeah,
a ton of
yeah, man.
record stores and dance halls and sound
Oh,
systems.
fantastic. Oh my word.
And,
Yeah,
and
man. Yeah, man.
everybody,
Yeah, man.
everybody who was famous, or everybody who was about to be famous in reggae, I think you said, was growing up in that area. I mean, you had
Yeah,
Sugar Minot, you had
for
Dennis
sure, for sure,
Brown, right?
for sure, for sure.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah. No,
you
many,
mentioned
many,
a
many,
bunch
many
of
artists.
names. Yeah.
No, because during that era, especially in my time, like when I started, when I left school, I ran away from school. After I finished working with Winston McAnuff on a song called Malcolm X,
Yes.
right? Winston went on to Excelsior. He went on to different school. I went to a school called St. Andrews Technical. I didn't last long in that school because it was a bit. I was a bit of I like to play sports. I like to play football. I like to play cricket and stuff. And then I ended up going to a football match in a place called I think it was close to Tivoli. Can't remember. There's a football field close to Tivoli in Jamaica, and we always go there after we leave school in the evenings to play football and stuff. But because where I come from a place called Walton Park Road, which is it's a bit like, like you have the Crips and the Bloods.
Yeah.
So, you know, in California, you have that kind of attitude. But in Jamaica, we have that same attitude wherein if you come of a certain era, don't care how skilled and how good you are, you're not allowed to come to this era. So I ended up getting beat up, you know, boxed down after the football match. I had to run for my life
And
to reach when
you were
I
singing
was
in
at
the,
school, man.
but when you were in school, you were also singing in the choir as well, right? And were you singing in
Yeah,
school?
yeah, yeah. No, I was singing in the group. We made a group called the Flaming Phonics, man. We had a group called the Flaming Phonics. We
Right.
built a group, like a singing group and stuff, you know, and thing. But you know, it's just that you know at that time of you know that era in Jamaica, like you know late 70s, 1980s. You know, it was a groups singing groups was really popular in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Like you know, we had the Eptones, we had so much groups that you know that we you know Chosen Few. We had people like
Mighty
you know,
Diamonds.
Burning Spear. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Burning Spear was a group. You know, initially.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mighty Diamonds. You know, you had the Wailers. You know, it's a group. You know, there's like 4 or 5 guys.
Now, can I
You
ask you?
know, maybe
Can I ask Earl? I don't mean to interrupt, but can I ask?
thirsty.
What did your parents do for a living?
My parents. My mom was a nurse.
Okay.
And my
Wow.
dad was a airline engineer, plane engineer.
Okay.
But yeah, my dad
He
was
was
just a mechanic that
I'm sorry, your dad was a what engineer?
he used to work on the airlines at the airport.
Oh, okay. Wow. At Kingston International, the
It was like
International Airport? In
no
Ocho
man
Rios?
airport. Yeah, my dad was like in Kingston, in Kingston. No man
Okay.
on the airport is in Kingston.
Okay. Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
But my mom, yeah, my parents wasn't really, you know, the thing about us as growing up as kids, we didn't really follow our parents, uh, you know, words. Because, you know, your mom would say, look, you have to stay in school. When you finish school, you have to be, you know, you have to become this, you have to become that and stuff. But during the era of after 1966, when Jamaica became independent,
Yeah.
we decided to, well, not we, but I personally decided to say, boy, hey, what, maybe I should stick with my parents and listen to what they're saying. But the whole uh, amalgamation of the old Jamaica
Yeah.
we was getting a little bit, you know, more independent. So we said, look, if we get independence from colonialism, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try and take it. So I started following around, messing around with all kind of people and stuff. And my parents keep kicking me out, bring me back home and say
And
blah blah blah.
I definitely want to follow up on that because it's something I've asked many reggae stars about their family support for music or their lack of support. But before I get there, I just want to ask you, because I heard you, I think I mentioned to you that I listened to your interview on the Steve Vibronic's Life and
Oh
Dub
yeah, Vibonics, man.
podcast.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mentioned kind of in passing something I want to follow up on, just ask you about, because you mentioned on that podcast that your dad used to make his own guitars. You said he wasn't a guitarist, he was just hanging around musicians. And when I
yeah.
heard you say that, I wanted to follow up and ask you, your dad
Yeah.
he used to make guitars? How did he do that?
No, we used to make in Jamaica. We make skates. We make roller skates, rollerblading skates. We make you know Jamaica. Them time there we used to. My dad used to make uh, it's called a banjo still.
Yeah,
If I choose to you know to choose to perfect right, but we used
yeah,
to use the bamboo string, the fishing line
yeah,
and we'll make it we'll connect the wires to like a coconut bow or something like that, you know, and just something to keep us, you know, send me to sleep or send the kids to sleep at night. So he would make all these kind of strange
that's amazing.
instruments,
That's amazing.
and then you just play, but you know, like a fish, you know, a fishing line that you go to
Yeah,
fish with. So he uses fishing line. and we string them up along like, with some bamboo calabash or something.
And you said he
I,
used to hang out. Your dad used to also hang out with musicians. What musicians would your dad hang out with?
oh man, no. I don't think my dad he wasn't really a musician kind of guy. He was just a man that had skills, he
Yeah,
was skillful with his arms and stuff. He made a lot of things. Like I
yeah.
said, he was the first guy that I've ever seen building that Jaguar engine in like 1970 or something. He was rebuilding my dad was a mechanic,
I see. Now,
fixed all kind of engines.
was there anyone though? I guess I always ask of somebody who's got such a talent like yours for singing. Was there anyone in your family, extended family, who was a singer or was involved in music at all before you came along? Was there anyone in your extended family that was an artist?
Steve, to be telling the truth, to be honest here, I think that I'm the only Rastaman in my family, in my generation, from because my grandmother is a woman called Bogle.
Yeah.
Like I'm a Bogle child. I'm a Bogle. My grandmother is called Reginald Bogle, and
After
you
Paul
know
Bogle, you're talking about Bogle,
that's what
B-O-G-L?
you said. You said it. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
So I was the only. I am one of the only generation. One of the only son that locks up my head. Like locks
Yeah.
up and things like that. I don't follow Bogle with me and dance around until them shoot me and kill me. you know. But no, but I don't really know about my whole generation, the whole tribalistic thing.
Fair enough.
But
Now,
yeah, man, I'm just growing up in Jamaica. Everybody go to church. You go to,
and
you go to.
you mentioned in a number of interviews, and you mentioned just a moment ago how your mom and I think your aunt, who you were living with at one point as well, neither of
Yeah.
them were happy with your decision to be a musician, and they threw you out of the house.
Oh yeah,
And
man.
I think at one point you said that your aunt had you locked out of the house, and sometimes you had to sleep in the foul chicken coop and things like
Yeah.
that to
What you know
pursue.
about that? What you know about that thing there? Yeah, man.
I think I did my research, Earl.
Yes, sir.
And so I wanted to ask you because, like I say, there have been a lot of reggae stars who've had the same situation happen, and for different
Mm.
reasons. Though I found in asking, I usually try to follow up and find out, well, why did your mom and your aunt, what was it about being a singer or being a reggae musician that they didn't like? Was it because of, it went against their Christian conservatism, or was it because they didn't think you could make a career, economically, you could support yourself from it? Or was it an uptown kind of downtown situation? What was the reason for why they didn't
Yeah,
support
you
you?
know, I think the main thing about that was that in the Caribbean, in the Caribbean, we kind of never really acknowledged that Africa is a foundational place that we didn't really see Africa as a motherland or something, or
Yeah,
as a main progress for Africa wasn't progressing for us because the Caribbean is controlled by colonials, the Americans, the
yeah,
Russians, blah, 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 the Cubans, everybody controlled Jamaica. But so at the time, like my parents' house always had a picture of Christ
yeah,
or a picture of the prime minister at the time, who
yeah,
was at the time when I was growing up was a guy called Bustamante,
yeah.
was the main in the front room, in the living room, or in the dining room, because we never, we have rooms in the yard. You understand about that? So when I growing up in Walton Park Road, the biggest picture in the house was a picture of Bustamante.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then you have a picture of, a white guy called himself Christ and thing. So the first time me bring a Bob Marley album come to my mother in my mama house, and I said, Mom, you see this poster? This poster is gonna be, you have got to take down your picture them. Well, I didn't really actually say that. She said, why are you going to that Rasta boy in the room? I said, but Mom, this is Bob Marley one. Him just I walk up him thing. Him I build up him thing. I walk up
You
there.
tried to put up, Earl, you tried
So,
to put up a Bob Marley poster in your mom's house?
no, in my room. Yeah, in my
Yeah,
room, in my yard, in my mom's house.
yeah.
And then she said, look, take down that picture, boy, what are you doing? And thing like that. You know. So, but the thing was, the whole situation was that, we had to fight for certain instigation and to instigate the system that, it's not just about the Caribbean and just Jamaica or, ghetto living. Ghetto is a worldwide thing. You understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying, Steve?
True. That's
Yeah,
true.
man, yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man. But
Now,
yeah, man, I tell you, man, I tell you, a bogle thing, I tell you about them. You have to talk about bogle thing.
yeah,
The
yeah,
bogle thing, 'cause, after a while, they say when they grow up, when they become a teenager and thing, when they become to be like, when they're going through certain years, certain time, depending on where you're living, or who your friends are, and who you hang out with.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
initially you're gonna start learning about yourself and learning about
Did
your history or where you're coming from.
the last thing I wanted
Okay,
to ask
rich you might be,
before I change to a different subject, the last thing I wanted to ask about your family was did your mom and your aunt, for example, did they ever come a time where after you've been such a successful singer for so long, I don't know if they're still alive or how long they lived, were they able to see your success as a singer and were they able to acknowledge you made the right choice by becoming a singer?
Yeah, not really, because the thing about it is that um, you know Jamaica is a very Christian, Catholic, Holy Mary, and all that kind of stuff. Jamaica is a place. It's either you're good or you're bad. So because I wasn't a Christian, I wasn't a part of the Catholic system.
Wow.
My
Wow.
parents just was not interested anymore.
Not interested in
They gave
that.
up on me.
Wow.
They
Wow.
gave up on me a long time. But the thing about it is that my mom became proud because, after a while, I started put out a whole heap of tune. She realized my work with Studio One, because Studio One, you have to understand this, Steve. Uh, Studio One Records was not really acknowledged in Jamaica, during the 70s and stuff. No, they didn't really acknowledge
Yeah.
Studio One Records. They didn't acknowledge reggae music
On the
on a
radio.
whole,
Yeah.
on the radios and stuff. It
Yeah.
was not acknowledged.
Yeah.
But we were still doing stuff, like, going to sound systems, or, stuff was coming out, was playing in the pubs, in the bars,
And
on the jukebox and stuff. My,
and
so-
you
my, my records was selling like crazy on the jukebox, bro.
and
Oh, man.
before you started even recording, I think you mentioned, or you mentioned a bit earlier, a few minutes earlier, that your skills really started to flourish when you formed that group, the Flaming Phonics, which I love that name, the Flaming Phonics. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I wanted to ask you about a man who appears to have been a very pivotal influence in your life about that time period when you were still very
Yeah.
young. A music teacher, a man by the name of Donald Hossa.
Donald Hussat.
Yeah, and
Donald Hussat, man.
I read at one point that you were actually living with him, and I wondered whether this is because your family wasn't supporting you.
No, man.
How did you
No,
end up?
no. Steve, don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, okay.
No. You see, my auntie, Mr. David,
Yeah.
I used to live at number 4 Oakland Avenue.
Okay.
You see, we used to feed all the children, around the place and things. My auntie used to have a restaurant on Walton Park Road. But Donald Ozak was my music school teacher while I was at my secondary school, which was St. Peter's Clever.
Okay.
St. Peter's Clever was a Catholic school.
That's where
Catholic.
Santa Davis went. That same
Sorry?
school, Santa Davis went to that same school, I think.
Hello, and what name the guy who plays saxophone now. His name Dean Fraser then.
Oh yeah, he went to the same school
Dean
too.
Fraser.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Same
still good.
school.
So that era that I grew up around, I can't tell you now. But Donald Ozak was a music teacher at that school, St. Peter's
Okay.
Clever School.
Yeah.
But Donald decided that he liked my voice because I used to sing, you know, like in the mornings we do stuff when they go to school. That because it was what do you call it? I'm sure that school was a Catholic kind of school.
Yeah.
But anyway, still. But yeah, Donald Hezek was the first guy that wrote the tune for me called
Love is a feeling.
yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask about that because because there were two things about Donald Hossack that from reading about you and your career.
No, I used to go to his house because he used to live near to where I live, right? He used to live on Chisholm Avenue, and I used to go around to his house every evening because he played the piano. And he's like, Earl, listen, you have to listen to these chords and stuff. I'm like, Donald, can we just go and burn two spliff around the corner and calm down, man? Because Donald was a very strict kind of guy, you know what I mean? Like, very strict and shit.
Wow.
And I was like, Donald, come around my yard, man. I can, my auntie will cook you some food. But Donald was crazy.
And he is the one who, first of all, the thing that I read about him was that didn't he encourage you to enter that talent contest that you won at the Bohemia nightclub?
Oh, good. Yeah. What do you know about that, Steve? What do you know about the Bohemia Club?
Yeah, well, I know about that. So, and that was the contest that you entered, and you beat out Michael Rose and Junior Moore from the Tamlins. And I think you won.
You're lucky, man.
You won. Right.
I think I was singing a tune called Peekaboo.
Yes. And I want to ask you about that, actually. I have a few questions about Peekaboo, but I'm going to hold them for a second because I want to come back to Peekaboo.
Because you see, the thing about that club, the band was called Skin, Flesh and Bones, I think it was called.
That's Sly Dunbar. Sly Dunbar's band.
Listen to me good. What do you call it? Like, it used to be I can't remember if it's Wednesday night or weekends, but they used to have a talent concert. But they used to have to rehearse and stuff. And I was thinking, sure, because I never sang with a band before, you know what I mean? And but that was a great, interesting thing that eventually occurred. But it was wicked, man.
And Donald, is it accurate that Donald Hossack encouraged you to enter that contest?
No, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Donald Hossack, yeah.
And then the other thing I read about
great piano player, man. It was a fantastic. He used to write music. He showed me, he writes his stuff. And he said, listen, this is what you're gonna sing when you go to Coxon Studio tomorrow. And he'd write all the chords and stuff, and I'm thinking, Donald, where's the lyrics? Just show me the lyrics.
So
Donald would write a whole fucking book full of songs. Oh man.
That's the song that you took to Coxon that you're talking about for Love is a Feeling.
Love is a Feeling, yeah.
So he initially took you, my understanding of that is he initially took you over to Coxon's studio. You might have been in your school uniform, and the song that he initially wrote was so long that Coxon said, you need to shorten it up, and Earl, you go take these records. He gave you a bunch of 45s and told you to go practice on the B-side.
Of course, yeah. Learn to, make it short and spicy, because those days, like the records was like 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes long. Yeah. Like like an A-side of a record. And you just want to do a nice vocal, nice punchline, a nice chorus and a nice verse and stuff. No. But we didn't think that. We was thinking about, we have to write it like we name Baccarat or something, So Donald was like a Baccarat kind of guy. He was always writing writing stuff, writing his music.
And so
That boy's Gardner, remember?
and ultimately Coxsone was cool with you because he gave you a bunch of records to
He did.
to
He
practice
did.
on.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never had so much because in my home, my parents only have like like a gramophone at the time. Then mom will have a couple of LPs, a couple of Jim Reeves, couple couple of Arabella Fonte, you know what I mean? Some Spyro and whatever. But there was no one. I had to hide and play the records on the turntable in my room, in my front room.
Oh, so your family wouldn't see you or hear you playing them.
They didn't want to hear that kind of stuff. Boom, 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 boom. You didn't want to hear the studio one stuff.
You must have been excited to get all those records from Coxsone. I mean, that was quite a boon when he gave you all those to practice on and listen to. You must have been pretty excited.
Oh man, listen, not even Donald. When I went to Don, I said, Don, listen, can I listen to the records in your house? He goes, boy, listen, my mom is gonna go to sleep soon. I can't play these kind of records in my house. But the thing about it, that era that we were growing up in, right, Steve, was a very vibrant, a very vibrant era, because we used to have like almost every night of the week was a sound system playing along the road and stuff, and it was interesting. So I was really interested to carry on and follow through. But I hated my music class, man. That's one of the worst subject in school that I hated.
You didn't like your music class. How come?
I didn't like. Well, one of my first teachers she was boring, man.
She was boring?
Yeah, my first music teacher was so boring, man. I fell asleep all the time and she kicked me out of the class. Right, Earl, get out the class now. You're sleeping. She's telling us about, how to fix a claver to a semi and how to do this and how to do that.
Earl,
writing stuff.
Well, I wanted to ask you because I realized I passed by it, but actually when I was doing the research, it's kind of an important question. When you won that talent contest, going back to the Bohemian nightclub, and it was a pretty big moment that sort of catapulted you a little bit into fame. You sang Peekaboo, and I heard you in a number of interviews talk about that song Peekaboo, and I know that you said, and I could be really wrong about this, but I just wanted to let you know because I looked into it a little bit. And Peekaboo, I know that Peekaboo, first of all, I really like the song Peekaboo. I didn't know about it until I started this. Yeah, and then I realized that you actually ended up putting that on one of your albums. I think it's a special request, your album Special Request in 1999. One of the tracks is Peekaboo. So you ended up recording the song professionally later after you won that contest as a kid.
Yeah, man, my version called Earl Cunningham.
Yeah.
Now Earl Cunningham recorded. Earl Cunningham did the backing vocals, We went together to the studio to voice that tune for a version called Royal Cousins from the Royal Rashes, from the Royals. It's not the Royal Rashes. Royal Cousins was a singer that recorded some album for Studio One.
Yeah.
And it was called The Royals.
Yeah.
So yeah, he came to Jamaica and he said, "Oh, Earl, I've got some studio time booked at RJ Studio, and I love to voice a tune with you or two and stuff." So, after I finished voicing a couple of tunes for myself and for Alfonso Bailey and stuff, and Roy said, "Oh, look," because them time I was ready to pounce. I was ready to go and work for Studio One.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Now,
but Roy came in and he said, "Yeah, you fly down from England with a whole English pound." And I said, "Yeah, all right then." I never seen some big English note. The 50-pound note, them big and fine and shine, So I said, "Yeah, all right then."
Wow.
So it took me to RJ Studio. My voice. I think I voiced a few tunes for Roy before, actually end up doing an album,
Now, but I do want to, reason why I wanted to just focus on Peekaboo for a second is because you've mentioned it a number of times and I looked it up and it seems, I know you said that it's a Chia Light song, but I don't think it is. I think it's a stylistic song. Unless the Chia
Oh yeah.
Lights, unless the Chia Lights have a version of
It
it. But
might be no, it might be stylistic. The stylistics.
yeah, and so, but so I
Yeah,
just,
stylistic. I think trash man didn't get the trash today. Da, 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 da. 'Cause the thing about it, right, at that point in my career, I
yeah,
had a very, like you call, my voice was a little bit, was kind of young. You know what I'm saying? And I had a very crisp falsetto.
yeah.
Like my falsetto, it's called a falsetto, you know.
You have one of the
So we
best
used to practice.
falsettos I'm aware of.
I
I
used
don't
to
know many
practice.
people. What's that?
We used to practice at home, on the street light, at night. You know, like
Yeah,
we was kids and stuff. We used to come out, when we leave, get like a break from home and thing, doing the chores,
yeah.
washing the plates, or putting the chicken them and putting the goat them back in the feed. We'll come back out and we'll start practice. That's what we used to do as youth, instead of coming up back on the street and start, finding who have the best gun or who have the biggest gun or whatever.
Um,
In the 70s in Jamaica, we used to, stay on the street lights and just sing and talk about, what's in the news or whatever. You see what I say?
yeah, for sure. And
But hmm,
I mentioned Hasek. But another big influence
Donald Hazard, man, God bless him, wicked
is
brother.
he still, I wanted to just ask, is he still alive and are you in touch with him still?
I haven't spoken to Donald for like, I don't know, for a long time. Donald
Yeah,
was cool because Donald was, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Donald was
another,
like, he's probably a headmaster in some school somewhere or something.
another man who was very, I think, influential, who you mentioned in your life and in your music career, was Boris Gardner, and you joined the Boris Gardner
Yes, I
What's
did.
Happening
Yeah.
band after, I think,
Mm-hmm.
after you had won that contest. Later on,
Yes, sir.
after about a
Yes,
year,
yes, sir.
right, you ended up
Yes, sir,
joining the
Steve.
Boris Gardner What's Happening band.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I did. I got lucky because the thing about it now, because after we formed the group, the Flaming Phonics, we ended up doing a few concerts and stuff. We ended up as a group. It was the four of us. So because we had auditioned for Duke Reed, we auditioned with Aquarius, we auditioned with a few, we auditioned with Aquarius record label, which was a studio.
Yeah,
We was doing a lot of auditions and stuff. And then we ended up recording a tune. So we had a tune called Hey Baby,
yeah.
which which Herman Chinla actually put out for me, which I have to give thanks for Herman for that.
And that was
So when we did that,
Aquarius Records.
Aquarius Records, yeah, label, yeah.
Yeah,
So when that record came out, you know, because I was hanging around some guys. I was hanging around people like Hugh Mundell and David Madden and
Bill Cole.
David,
Yeah,
yeah. So we was kind of around. I was hanging around some people, and then Boris said, "Hey, you guys was the one that put out that tune and stuff, Hey Baby and stuff." So I said, "Yeah." But the thing was, because Tina Stewart was the lead singer for the band, and then Tina, he did about 3 festival songs, which was hit after hit. Tina was like the hit factor at the time. So Tina ended up leaving the band and stuff. But while we was touring as a group, because big youth them and the man the carapace, I'm sure and all kind of thing, the giant them
and,
was up and down the place.
and you
As a little set
described
of youth them and stuff too.
you described Boris Gardner, as being like a consummate musician, somebody who could write music, play music, he was the
Yeah,
musician who you learned a lot from. Is that fair to say?
Boris was the chief. Boris is the chief of staff, man. The chief of one of the chief musicians that I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
You know, was Boris. Apart from Tyrone down there, man, but
A-
Boris as a bass player was phenomenal, man.
And you're now, and one
Because I
thing.
was still a teenager, man, when I met up with those guys. Because when they found me, I was still on the street with Jayu them and thing, and I ride up and down and I blaze a blaze. But we
And
had a group. We had a group. The Flaming Phonics was doing a lot of school, like you'd call it like Precious Ball and stuff. We used to
yeah.
play in a lot. We started to perform in Excelsior schools. Went to Holy Child. It
So
was like a group that was
so you
performing around.
were you were making a name for yourself with the Flaming Phonics, and Boris
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
he was getting booked by people like Lee Scratch Perry, right? He was
Oh
being
yeah,
booked.
maybe.
He
Oh
was
shit.
being
Yeah,
booked as a
yeah, yeah.
professional. So when you joined
Listen.
Boris, he was really like a mentor to you.
Oh god, yeah, 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 man. For sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. Now,
Now,
boys, I learned a lot from that whole segment of my life.
and I wanted to ask about that segment of your life also, particularly, Earl, because that's also, from what I understand, and I want to make sure all the reggae fans know, I only know this from reading an interview that you did with Angus Taylor for ReggaeVille,
Oh, Angus,
that,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
that the genesis of your name, of your stage name, Earl
Oh crap!
16, that it
You said
comes,
that, man.
my understanding, let me see if I'm accurate, that Boris Gardner's band, when you started to join them or you were apprenticing with them, they said, listen, you trying to act like a big man, but you're only 16. So
I
we're going to
know,
call you Earl 16 just to keep you humble. Is
I
that
know.
accurate? Is
I see. No, 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 for real, for real, for real. No, no, but the thing was that I wasn't really, launching myself towards. I wasn't, you know, procrastinating now. I wasn't really thinking about getting involved in the music that deep because
yeah.
I still had my mom and my parents saying, look, this music thing not good for me, Earl. We're not gonna have this, you can't be coming back home every night and things like that. Where's the money? You know what I mean? It's Jamaica. Right? So, but
Yeah. But I want to ask, but that nickname, and the reason why I want to focus on the nickname is because I've asked other musicians about this. Like, for example, earlier this year I interviewed Flabba Holt, and
yeah,
Flabba,
Flabba.
yeah, I interviewed Flabba, and Flabba told me something he never told anyone else before,
Oh crap.
which is how he got his nickname Flabba. And
Flabba. Yo,
he
snap.
told me that his brother named him Flabba because he ate too many dumplings one day. He ate up all the dumplings, and so they called him
You
Flabba.
talking?
And
You
so
talking
I did,
Errol, man? Errol,
and
Errol Holt.
and the
Errol
thing,
and you.
the thing about it is, Earl, is that what I see in with a lot of Jamaican musicians, I mean, in Jamaica, when they give you a nickname, it cuts
Wow,
to the
snap. It
it
sticks.
cuts to the core and it
It
sticks with you.
sticks for life, man.
And
G's and P's.
but how did you? But I guess what I was curious about, how did you realize at such a young age? If I was 16, my initial reaction would be, I'm not going to call myself Earl 16. You're messing with me. How did you
Yeah,
know?
you know
How did
what?
you
To be
decide to go
honest,
ahead? You know what? I'm going to use that as my stage name. What persuaded you to use
to
that as
honest,
your
to be
stage
honest with
name?
you, Steve, you
Yeah.
see, during that time, during that period, yeah, I didn't really think about it. I didn't really think that, you know, because that was kind of like, what do you call, like an uprising time for I, you know?
Yeah.
Because when I started connecting with boys, them, I ended up meeting some guys called the 12 Tribe of Israel and all these kind of people.
One of the
And I
houses of
realized that I'm telling you from an early age, from 1976, man.
yeah.
I realized that there's a big movement that's starting next door to Boris' house because Boris was living in a place called Whitehall Avenue. No, it wasn't Whitehall Avenue, but Boris was living. It's uptown, but it was still in the ghetto. See what I
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
But so me, you know, as a youth, come someone used to ride up and down and thing, and have some old friend them from down. Because I came from a place called Selassie Drive, you know, Walton Park where I come from, you know.
Yeah.
And when I was about 9 years old, when King Selassie came to Jamaica in
Yeah.
1966, right?
Yeah.
I was there and see when he came off the plane or the helicopter.
You were at the airport. You were at the airport?
No, not the airport. He came to buy a piece of land,
Oh yeah.
which was owned by a man called Artie. Mr. Artie was the father of Lawrence Rowe. Lawrence
Yeah.
Rowe, you know, Mr.
Yeah.
Artie owned a whole heap of land in the area we grew up in. So me I say,
Yeah.
but the thing about it now, so me never really penetrate. Say I got the money. I say, boy, yeah, you're 16-year-old and you're young. Because true, where we coming from, you see where you coming from, you have to grow up young and you have to grow up quick. Not even young, but you have to be smart, quick and fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you might get stabbed, you know, or a man might just rush you for no reason at all. Or if you take away marble, or if you win him in a skating board competition.
Wow.
We used to do competition, right? We used to make all the roller blades skate, right? With bearings and everything there. And we skate down the road like we had to a bike race. Like we have
Wow.
race down. You know what I mean? We used to do all kind of stupid things, you know. Like
Wow.
e-commerce used to remember them things like, you know, like when the rain fall, we'll make some little boats out of matcha stick or lollipop stick. And we'll make a boat them, you know, out of paper and all kind of parchment paper and all kind of thing. But yeah, but funny enough, you're right, you know, Steve. I never realized that the name would stick with me for so long, you know.
But
But
eventually
I was cool, man. I was cool. I was all right with it.
you became comfortable with it pretty quick eventually. Eventually you said, you know what, I'm Earl 16.
Yeah, you know,
True.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad because now I'm gonna change my name, man. I'm gonna do a Prince, man. I'm gonna have to do a Prince.
Oh man. Oh man. Now I want to turn
Because
for a moment to hands down one of your most famous songs. You mentioned it a little bit earlier. It's a song that continues to be very powerful, especially in these times. The song Malcolm X, which I believe first came out in 1975. And this was a song written by your friend, as you mentioned, singer-songwriter Winston McAnuff. And in a number of interviews, you have told the story about how you and Winston went to Joe Gibbs's studio after school one time, and engineer Earl Thompson eventually chose your version of the song over McAnuff singing it, and that eventually McAnuff and you would go on to record Malcolm X not only for Joe Gibbs but also for the producer singer Derek Harriott. You also sang that song for Derek Harriott as well. And I understand.
give me a rubber version. I'm tricky. And I never wanted to. They never release a tune for us, you know.
Joe Gibbs never released the tune?
No, because the thing about it now,
Yeah.
he was young, and there was me, Winston, and a youth named Frankie Bubbler, Franklin Noir.
Franklin Wall. Yeah.
Franklin Bubbler, a Bubbler I miss name. Bubbler used
Yeah.
to go to the same school, Excelsior School, you know.
Yeah.
Winston Bubbler. But we used to practice that tune there every day in the auditorium at the school, you know.
Yeah.
We used to practice it, you know, after school. We go and practice it before we go to the studio. And then when the musician said, hey, you guys should take that tune to the studio, man. You know, so, but the thing about it was that when we actually went to the studio, the man them still come in a school uniform and thing, and them say, man, these kids have, you know, they run us out a couple times, man. You know, we didn't actually venture into it at the same, you know, like, they run us out. And we keep coming back. We keep coming back and say, Winston said 16, yeah, man, boy, such a So Winston, I said, all right, Winston, come man, 'cause I used to love Winston. You know, I used to follow him. I said, Winston, you what now? I support that thing. Anything I said, Winston, come, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, Franklin will come with us on thing. So when Earl Thompson first heard the tune, he said, blow, wow, yeah, man, that's my boy.
Yeah.
So they encouraged us to do it. I would say, yeah, we're gonna make some money now. And then them call him back and them say, oh yeah, we need a different singer, you know. So Winston said to me, Earl, you try it then. You try you try sing. I'm gonna do my best something, but it wasn't good enough, man. Eventually I put Dennis Brown on it.
And I wanted to ask about this. I have to ask you about this because I've listened to all the versions and I know that Dennis Brown, I believe Dennis Brown was only like maybe he was only maybe 2 years older than you. And I think that you and Winston were friends with Dennis Brown, weren't you? You were friends with Dennis.
Yeah.
So I guess what I wanted to ask you about this was, were either you or Winston, were either of you upset at all with Dennis that Dennis had gone and voiced the song for Joe Gibbs?
No, you see, at that point in our career,
there
was two artists that we could not get upset with. It was
Yeah.
Dennis Brown and
Yeah.
Alton Ellis. Alton Ellis and Dennis Brown was like the top singers in Jamaica at the time. You know, like now you probably have like Luciano or Barry Simon or whatever.
Yeah.
But those days, Dennis was like not even Bob Marley, man. I'm telling you now. Dennis was the local hero then, more or less. But you know, like a country singer, like Dennis was our country local singer. You know what I'm saying? Or country singer.
When I interviewed Sister Carol, she said exactly the same thing. She talked about how much the people, the people love him.
I'm telling you, because he was like, you know, the child thing. But then Dennis was just a local artist. He wasn't popular international. It's like Lee Perry. Lee Perry wasn't popular overseas, but he was big in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Back in the day. But
you
know.
But even though Dennis was so popular, but Earl, even though Dennis was so popular and you guys, you know, revered him and thought he was a great singer, you and Winston.
My problem was with the producer. My problem was with fucking
Joe Gibbs.
Gibbers then. Gibber, come on, do with some money because we're looking like, yeah, we can buy some new school uniform now. We can get some fresh books, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I was like, you know what, guys? Sorry, man. That tune's not gonna work. I'm like, oh damn.
Oh man. But eventually you did get the success with Derek Harriott because everybody knows that version of Malcolm X, which is so powerful.
They did us a good job. They went back to the studio and recorded again at Federal. Cruising.
Now like you said,
Robbie and the whole thing, man. Yeah.
What I want to ask you too, I'd be remiss for all the reggae fans if I didn't ask you this question, because like you said, you spent such a significant period of time growing up with Dennis Brown, and you know, people like Tony Chin have even told me that Dennis Brown still, even today, isn't treated right in Jamaica, you know, not like he should be. And I guess I just wanted to focus on Dennis Brown for a minute and just ask you, because you spent so much time with him when you were younger, are there any personal memories that you have, Earl, that you think about when somebody mentions Dennis Brown, that what is your best, happiest memory of hanging out with Dennis Brown when you were younger?
Well, to be fair, when Dennis was when we was younger, when Dennis was still up and running, Dennis invited me to a show, right?
Yeah.
In Madison Square Gardens.
Yeah.
In 1986, I think it was. I was in New York. I was touring with Sassafras and a few people and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And Dennis, I was spending some time in Harlem or something. It was. And I realized that Bonnie Williams was doing a show in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
He said, shit. I'm saying, Sassa, look, let's go. Me and Sassafras a guy called Echo Minor and killed it. But Echo didn't want to come.
Yeah.
So I said, man, I'm going around to see Bonnie Wellers. But when I didn't have no ticket or nothing, because Madison Garden that time the ticket was like $25 or something, and you know it was very, you know, kind of kosher.
Yeah.
But I was really grateful to see that. But when I went around there, I just wanted to go and see what was happening, you know, because me and a couple of guys was hanging out in New York at that time in 1986 or 85 or something. And then as soon as we got to the venue,
Yeah.
I saw Dennis and I said, Dennis. I don't think Dennis was on the show. I'm not sure. Because Freddie Mercury was there, a few guys was there. And I said, Dennis, Ewa, wanna come in, you know? And I had a couple of brethren with me, you know? And Dennis said, 16, what you do here? What you do in New York, brethren? I said, Dennis, wanna come see the show tonight, brethren? And then said, Ewa, you see this pass now, girl? Make sure you take it and come in and bring back my pass, come with me. As soon as you come back into the show, you know?
Yeah.
And Steve, you see that pass, right? When I got to, when we get the pass now, because Dennis went in, he gave me the pass.
Yeah.
So there was a guy called Dave Robinson. I don't know where Dave come from. Dave Robinson hang on for my pants foot. I said, 16, what are you doing? I said, Bridget, we can't help you now, Dave. Because right now, there's just give me a pass, and this is, I didn't have a cat, but I'll get before, but then, God. I'll never forget that, Steve. You know?
Wow.
But that was just, you know, when Dennis was up and around. But apart from that, you know, man, Dennis is up and down, man. Jamaica, we used to do all the bullshit.
Now, this is maybe unfair, but let me ask you: are there any particular Dennis Brown songs that you just love that your favorite? Any favorite? The ones that you know he has so many, but are there any favorite Dennis Brown songs that you have?
Yeah, man. One of my favorite, my most potent tune is "Now That the Change Is Coming." That was the baddest tune. It's to me the baddest album Dennis ever did was with Derek Harriott, man.
Which one?
The album he did with Derek he only did one album with Derek Harriott.
Okay, well I'll find it. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I'll have to look
No
it up.
Man is an Island, I think it was.
Oh, No Man's an Island.
That's true the one. That's a true one. But no, he did an album with Derek, Derek. And the tune on it called "Now That the Change Has Come." So it was like, you know, they had harmonies, they had instruments, they had horns, they had live recording. The whole thing was live and projected.
So Dennis Brown's album with Derek Harriott is one that folks.
It's called Concentration. The album is called Concentration.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, now, man. But Dennis had the boss, man. Dennis had the general.
By the way, are you still with Winston? Winston, I believe, lives in France. Winston McAnuff. Are you still in touch with Winston McAnuff at all?
Yeah, man. Winston and my family, man.
Cool.
Winston just built in Manchester, Jamaica, man. Winston I plant cocoa and yam and everything right now.
Nice. Now, as we
plant some Benz and all kind of car and everything. Winston a madman. Winston sick.
As we were finalizing plans for today's interview, one of the most, as we mentioned, one of the most famous reggae producers, one of the biggest legends in music, Lee Scratch Perry, he passed away at the age of 85. And my understanding is that after you parted ways with Boris Gardner, and as your involvement with Rasta grew deeper, you recorded several songs with Scratch at his Black Ark studio. And
yes, we did.
And I wanted to ask about one of those songs, which I just love, the song "Freedom," which you recorded with Scratch in 1977. And like I say, I just love this song "Freedom." I could listen to it. I could listen to it again and again and never talk.
No, man. I tell you now.
Yeah.
That one is the most played song on there used to be a Saturday morning program in Jamaica, right? Called Errol Thompson was like a radio DJ.
Yeah.
It's called ET Saturday morning something or something. I can't remember. But he was a radio personality, you know. And so ET used to play the dub. He used to play it every single time on his radio show. It was
Yeah.
annoying, man. The
Well,
dub was so disgusting.
there's, and I think when you listen to it, you can listen to Malcolm X. There's a couple of versions on YouTube, but there's one that definitely has the dub. You listen to the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
version,
The dub
and
part.
the
I'm telling
dub
you now.
the dub
You
will
know, I'm
kick
telling
in. Now, anyone who watches and reads this interview should definitely go listen to Malcolm X. A few questions, not Malcolm X, I mean Freedom. And a few
Freedom, yeah.
questions. Listen to Malcolm X too, but definitely listen to Freedom. A few questions about Freedom.
Yes, Steve.
Who wrote the song?
That song was written by me and a brethren called Clive Jeffrey, and the next brethren called Dalton Brownie, you know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Dalton Brownie. And Clive and stuff like that, you know. We write the tune them together, man. Cause you see, that was when it was the whole Flavin Phonics was disintegrating.
Yeah,
You know, because it was a group that, you know, because the group, when we started our group called Flaming Phonics,
yeah,
then they become a group called the Brownie Bunch,
yeah.
you know, the Brownie Boys, and think because we used to hang out together, you know, well, not hang out, but, you know, we used to incorporate our stuff and try to make some classical, some good
You would
music.
collaborate. You collaborate together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we used to try to collaborate because we're all school kids and stuff.
So I'm sorry, but can you, and I just want to make sure I get it right because again, I love the song Freedom. Say again the names of the guys who helped to write the song.
Dalton Brownie.
Yeah.
A guy called Clive Jeffrey,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
and Kenneth Hamilton. Because Dalton is the man who was singing no. You know,
Well,
no.
I wanted to ask about that.
That was Dalton.
Yeah, I wanted to ask who was singing
Listen.
that. The reason I'm glad you said that because one of my questions for you, and it may have just been my imagination, but I was curious because I thought that I was listening closely and I was like, wait a minute, is that Scratch saying now
Oh
every
no.
now and then?
Yeah. It's Dalton.
But it's not. It's not. Yeah.
It's Dalton. Man.
Do you remember? Do you remember? Like I know, you recorded a couple songs for Scratch, but do you remember in the studio when you recorded that super dope song Freedom? Do you remember Scratch being in the studio, and do you remember what his participation was? Like, how did he help you, to sing those songs for him, including Freedom?
So basically, the thing about the whole that era
Yeah.
was a very interesting, time of the reggae saga, the whole transition from what do you call it, like like from I don't know Bacchanal or from ska or something.
Yeah.
But it was a different vibes, compared to like King Tubby's or Johnny Clark or I don't know. It's a different era. The whole segment of recording at the Black Hawk was like we just thought that it was doing a different segment
I
of
guess, but I get,
realizing our stuff,
but I guess,
realizing our black.
but
Because we had a
what?
tune called Traveling and everything. It's called Traveling, Traveling, Traveling. Yeah, the Congos was coming out. There's a whole other thing was coming out at the studio at the time, The
But I
studio was
guess,
vibrant,
but I guess what I'm trying to focus on though is Lee Scratch Perry for a minute and how, because so many people have talked about him being such a great producer and you know, and freedom, like I say, it's got, now that I know about the song, you know, that's like one of my top songs. I love the song, and so
Oh,
that's
man.
why I was so curious about all the
Did you
parts
see
to it.
the guys that played it, man? There was
Yeah,
Albert Malawi on drum. It was amazing. The musicians was stupid. Was it
that
Albert or Mikey Boo or something, Mikey Richards? It was crazy, 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 crazy session.
and
But the thing
Albert,
about that,
yeah, yeah,
those tunes,
yeah,
most of the songs, was only a few of them that become to be, like went over the, like songs like Police and Thieves and stuff
yeah,
that really, I don't know what you say, to emphasize that, Black Hawk Studio was really happening.
yeah,
But it was happening a long time. There's thousands of songs that we were doing, man.
yeah.
Before Scratch became, where he was. We was just hustling. We was just doing cooking food, smoking weed, and just boiling some dumplings in the corner and stuff, keeping the thing going. You see me? I said,
And
yeah,
he
man.
just he had the inspiration. He was
Yeah,
able
the
to
boss was
inspire
good,
you.
man. We don't know. Listen, the boss is the boss. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I would. I got man come for cable too, so
and,
I
and
just somehow will survive.
yeah. And Albert Malawi, I think they called him Alawi Malawi Johnson. He was the drummer.
Yeah.
The drumming
Oh
on
my goodness
Freedom
me. Oh,
is
jeez, and peace.
super wicked.
Terrible.
And
Yo.
he's a lot of people don't know he is Temperance Sativa. That's her
We
father.
got
Yeah. And
yeah, but now he's the what do you call him guys? The son. He was the selector.
he was for the Jah Love sound system, right?
Brigadier Jordan. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that tune, man, that tune was like a sound, like a significant uh, production. But yeah, because like me myself, I was one of the guys who used to work. Like I said, when we got incorporated with the Browner Boys,
Yeah.
you know,
When
there
you
was a guy called Clevie, and then
yeah.
Steely was the man who first played on my tune called Man Making Plans to Destroy the
Yeah.
Land. Steely, that's the first song that Steely ever recorded in his
Wow.
life. You
Wow.
know? But it was cool. It was cool. It was cool because we
What
had to do what we got to do. You know what I mean? That's
what
how it is.
what what were your
You know,
thoughts? What were your thoughts when you heard that Scratch had passed away? What were your thoughts about Scratch passing away and his legacy? Well,
ah, man.
yeah.
No, I thought it was just that. Yeah, he's just Scratch is just going down the river, and we have to make sure the water is clear.
Yeah.
Clear up the water. For Scratch is coming.
Wow. Wow.
Keep the water, keep the river clear.
That's poetic. That is very
Now,
poetic.
gully coming down. I'm saying gully come down. Gully come
Now,
down.
in addition to Scratch Perry, you recorded
Got to kill
songs
me.
for so many
I
famous.
whom do a lot,
You
each and
recorded, in addition to Scratch Perry, Earl, you recorded songs for so many famous producers. The list includes, as we already mentioned, Joe Gibbs, Derek Harriott, Cox and
yeah.
Dodd, and it also includes Mikey Dread, Augustus Pablo, Earl
Okay.
Morgan, Linville Thompson, Gussie P,
Linval, yeah, boy.
Gabby U, Mad Professor, Nick Manassa, Roberto
Yeah,
Sanchez, and the list goes on and on of all the
yeah,
different
man.
producers that you've worked for. I want to mention also, Roberto Sanchez, that there's not enough time in this interview for me to really get into it, but the song, the
Roberto bad.
album that you did,
Okay.
Natty Farming from
Your
2014.
lungs doing the farming.
Yeah,
Them planting.
yeah.
Banana, the coconut, the
You have
dumpling.
to prop
Yeah.
you have to propagate the land. You have to propagate
Yes, sir.
yeah,
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 man, yeah, man, yeah, man.
yeah, yeah.
No, because the thing about it, right, Steve, we had to try and incorporate because the whole system after Bob Marley died, right? After Bob died, they said that reggae is gonna be dead. But when reggae died with Bob Marley, the next thing that became was Shabba Rankin, Buju Banton,
Yeah.
Sizzla. Reggae became alive again with a different set of different from the whole, you know, Joseph Hill, and different from the whole that section of
It
what
wasn't it
we
wasn't as
did.
roots anymore. It wasn't as
It
much
wasn't
root.
that roots anymore. It became to be like a sound, well, not a sound system, but because it just changed.
Yeah.
It changed. So then, for us to maintain that still Caribbean history,
Yeah.
that history that we had before Columbus came to Jamaica. But you know, me personally, I'm just a part of that. I just intend to try and keep the history alive, keep the culture alive, and stuff like
I
that.
mentioned Roberto
It's just a
Sanchez.
money thing for me.
Yeah, I mentioned Roberto Sanchez a minute ago. And
Roberto Bud,
I,
good youth.
I wanted to ask you, did you, when you worked on that album, Natty Farming, which again is a great album, did you actually go to Spain? Did you work in Spain at his studio, or did you just collaborate with him from where you are?
No,
Did you go to?
I was traveling. I was traveling long before that, man. I was traveling to the Basque. There's a place called the Basque Country. The Basque Country. The
Wow.
Basque Country is a country in Spain that is like they segregate themselves. They have a different kind of mentality. It's like the Maroons in Jamaica. Like the
Yeah.
Maroons have their own thing, and the Basque Country have their own thing in Spain. You understand what I say?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was doing that. I tried to the Basque Country. The first time I went was with my professor and Yabi with them to the Basque
Wow.
Country.
Wow.
When we meet Roberto was a part of the musician them.
Wow.
It was just fitting his band together.
Yeah.
And a
And
person called Inyaki them and the Monday. So what we do freedom fighting and whatever we can call it. Climate changing. We just climate everything. We climatize myself. You see
did
my say, Steve.
Did for sure. Did Roberto Sanchez, did his studio band, the Lone Arc Rhythm Force, did they play on
Luna.
that? They played on that Natty Farming? Are they the
Yeah man,
musicians?
yeah man, yeah man.
Yeah,
Bad man.
yeah,
Hey man, that was so interesting because a lot of I think they took some of the drum tracks from some old Channel One, the drum patterns and stuff. They
yeah.
got them live from,
They make it sound just like that era.
but
They
they
recreate.
added everything else, man. The guys are good, man. The guys, I can't say nothing bad about them because I literally saw them starting to play with us. The band was called the BDF band,
Yeah,
Bass Dub Foundation band.
wow. Yeah,
They started playing with us. They started playing with me, African Simba. I think the first show I did with Bass Dub Foundation was, yeah, in Yaki them and that.
Can I
It's
ask
crazy,
Earl?
man.
Can I ask Earl, because you've worked with so many good producers, all those producers I named,
Yeah.
it seems like you would be an excellent person to ask this question to, which is what makes if you had to give advice to somebody who wanted to be a producer, a young guy who wants to be a producer in the music business,
Yes, sir.
what's the best advice that you could give as to what are the skills that you have to possess, the qualities, the things that you do to make you a good producer?
Well, it depends, because if you decide to make, like, I think reggae has a totally optional kind of, I don't know, like a system or whatever, where it's got to be live. But if you want to make, I don't know, some trap music, or if you want to make, some reggaeton, or you want to make, hip hop, you can. It's always good. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on iPhone. You can do it on your in his studio,
Yeah.
whatever. But with reggae, it's always essential to have live instruments as much live as you can
Yeah.
with, people actually playing, um, or I don't know. Nowadays you can cheat. You can get some Sly Robbie drum tapes. You can get some Santana guitars from from a CD or from
Yeah. Download
download
them.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it all depends.
But
It depends. What is the what do you
but
call it?
you still
How
recommend
much
the
can
old
you
school?
afford? How much can you afford to build a track
Yeah.
or something? But most of us now, that's all we do. We just build a rhythm from our phone. I can build a rhythm on my phone and just call up Steve and say, Steve, can you do the chat on my rhythm, please? You know
Wow.
what I mean? I
Yeah.
hear that thing. No, but Steve,
So-
no, but it's good. It's good. It's good. We give thanks. The problem is that the originals, it's gonna be live. If you're gonna see, if you want to see a band live playing, a lot of the artists now that's performing, I noticed
yeah.
they're using backing tracks while they sing. Even like some of the famous rappers or something.
Hey,
I don't understand.
Earl,
They're using their own voices to rap along with it. You
Earl,
know,
something happened to your picture. Okay, and I couldn't see you for a minute, but now I can see
I'm
you now.
just running. I'm just running a little thing, man. Even with
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm there, man. I'm there. I'm there.
Now, one of the songs that we were talking about producers, and I wanted to mention Mikey Dread for a minute, if it's okay, um, because Mikey Dread. Oh,
Oh yeah, man.
yeah, Mikey Dread, because your songs on what I think is one of your top albums, Reggae Sound, was produced by Mikey Dread, and it was not long, I think, before you relocated to the UK. Before you went to London, you came out with that album, Reggae Sound, and there's a pair of songs. I mean, I really dig the whole album, Reggae Sound. It's such a great album, but there's two songs on it that I just love. I just want to mention them. Lover's Delight, the song Lover's Delight. I mean, the
Oh really?
falsetto on that song, Lover's
I got
Delight,
nothing. Man.
which is a
Yeah,
bonus
I
track.
was a tune. I was a tune that we did. We called "Rockers Delight." It was on Mikey's album called Third World War or something like that. World
Wow.
War Three or something like that. Mikey did an album called World War Three. So
Okay.
he had a version called Rockers Delight. It was a big tune in England, man. I'm not sure.
Well,
I wasn't here. I wasn't here.
well, Lover's Delight. The falsetto on that is so spectacular. I mean,
You're funny.
it's
You
just
give me
incredible.
jokes, bro.
No, no, it's incredible. And then Poor
Yeah.
Man, I wanted to ask about.
Love is the light.
Yeah, that's the one. But I
It's a
also want to mention
poor man.
this song Poor
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man. I'm tuning. Yeah, man. I saw the
You,
thing set, man. I saw the thing go.
Poor Man has some of the saddest lyrics I think I've ever heard. You sing, I'm just a poor man living in frustration. I got no friends. I'm just a suffering man.
Yeah.
How did you come up with those lyrics? Make them, they're so sad, but then, you make it sound so sweet. But what was going on to inspire those lyrics?
No, because them times I was running through some very dark and let me say ghettos and thing,
Yeah,
Because for me to voice that tune, right, I had
yeah.
to travel from my yard, which was in Walton Park Road, and I had to travel through about three different, I can say like villages or something. Not village, but you see, to
Neighborhoods.
get to to,
Yeah,
to get to King Tubby's, right,
yeah,
you have to go through about three different gully.
yeah,
And not gully, but because I used to take minibuses, right? I take
yeah.
minibus from my house, from Walton Park. But to get to Tubby's, bro, I'm telling you now, you have to go across a gully, you have to go across a ridge to go to Tubby's. And late at night, because Mikey always wait till him finish work. And he said, Earl, yeah, you're going to shoot it tonight. I'm like, oh shit. I'm gonna have to go to Waterhouse, and me coming from, because this kind of like I don't know, it's like, with Israel and Palestine or something. No, no, I
Yeah.
can't explain. I don't know, I can explain it
Were,
to you.
were you
It's
scared?
like you're not allowed in certain area.
Were you scared? Were you scared going to Tubby's
I'm
then?
fucking pissing my pants, man. Every single time. Because the thing about Tubby's era was a laborite era.
Yeah.
And I came from a from a PNP era,
Yeah. So they didn't
you
want to
know.
see you. Yeah.
So, and as soon as them see me, them say, oh, that boy, where you come from? What you doing around here? I'm like, oh, shit. You know what I mean?
Um,
So I was always lucky to end up to the studio at a certain time.
like very much like Hugh Mundell, who you mentioned a little while back, who passed away, who died way too early, way too young. Mikey Dread also passed away way too young. I think he was a really fabulous producer who not enough is said
Yes,
about.
yes, I
And and
yes, sir.
I wondered, do you have any what do you miss most about Mikey Dread and about working with him?
Mikey was a vibrant innovator, man. Mikey was always coming up with some great jingles. He was very brilliant at initiating stuff for radio and like media stuff. Mikey was a very media person. You see,
And
Mikey
he,
was one of the first man that David Rodigan invited him to England. David Rodigan,
and,
was very amused that Mikey had all these kind of radio jingles that was cute, 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 cute.
yeah.
Like it was a classic one. Yeah. So that's what we do. That's how we do, Steve.
And Mikey
Yeah.
Dread also got you to
Mikey
England.
Cameron was a good vision. Huh?
Mikey Dread is also responsible for you basically going to the UK as well. I mean, he brought you there initially on
No, it
tour.
wasn't. Fuck Mikey, man. Mikey, no, man. Mikey did bring Eddie Fitzroy. Mikey did bring, they bring a few artists before me, man.
Wow. Wow.
Mikey never brought me to England. I came to England with um, Kenneth Livingston, like one
Oh,
of the counselors.
oh, okay.
I
Okay.
was invited to England by certain people. But no, but Mikey did try to bring me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Mikey Campbell was, man,
Yeah.
fantastic guy. But yeah, it's just one of them things, you know what I'm saying?
And around
Good
that
time.
time, around that same time period, Earl, Bright, I think it's before you left to go to the UK. It was in 1981. You sang a stunning track. It's called "Live Together," which folks can listen to on YouTube. Someone uploaded the Greensleeves 45,
Oh
and
yeah,
you know that song
man.
Live Together."
Yeah,
You
man, yeah,
know,
man.
yeah, yeah. And
I
it's
did
a
it with Greenback Thompson.
yeah, and it's a peace anthem. I mean, the song is like you say, is produced for Linville Thompson or by Linville Thompson, and is backed by the Roots Radix, Flabba, and company who I just mentioned,
Yeah, man.
and is mixed by the legendary scientists.
Practice.
That
Yeah, of course.
yeah, that song. And with so many legends involved in that one track, I mean, you have scientists, you have Linville Thompson, you have yourself, you have the
Oh man.
Roots, you have the Roots Radix. I mean, there was no question that that track was going to be so crucial. But I was just curious. Is this also a song, Live Together? Is that a song that you wrote? Did you write that song? If you
Mm.
remember?
No, because it's it. Like I said to you, Steve, the
Yeah.
thing about it, we went through a very difficult period when we was living amongst uh, Siaga
Yeah.
and Michael Manley. So, which was two great guys, two great people, you know, because I can also remember people like Rex Nickerford. I can also remember people like Alfonso Walker, people that was benefit our stuff, you know,
Yeah.
benefit to us, you know. But the thing about it, it was a time of a politician, a politics thing in the Caribbean. So you become like your own cousin or your own family.
Yeah.
Like my house used to have a picture of a laborer, what do you call it? A guy called, you know, there was a picture in my house all the time. My granny house when I grew up in it. My
Yeah.
auntie house actually, not my granny. And my granny
Yeah.
never used to have no picture in the house. I bought house my granny.
Yeah.
But my auntie house used to have a picture of, you know, certain people, you know. And then a man would say, boy, I be a laborer at the house. But the thing about it, I never used to grow up like that. I didn't grow up as a political person.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm gonna defend this, I'm gonna defend this guy and defend that guy and stuff. Because Bunley used to come to our house almost every weekend. Bunley used to come pass through my yard and thing. And we get to where to live, right? Strikingly. And Bunley said, hey what? I bust a man to thing this, you know. You know, I drop off some food for and thing and thing and thing and you know, like they would drop off some food bag and thing. See? And I said, but I didn't know that was Bunley. And I said, but Bunny, but we're not hungry. Look like we're hungry. You know how much chicken we have in the back of my yard and something. You know how much, you know how much, you know how much thing we have in our back of us. But it was one of them things, you know, like we was forced to become, you know,
Political.
enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And is that that
enemies.
song that song "Live Together" is kind of like, hey, we need to all unite. It's basically a
Yeah,
plea.
man, yeah, man, yeah, man. That's why, you know, there's a version called Chester, right?
Yeah.
Chester and Leon was his brother, Leon. Leon and Chester then. Leon was one of the foundational guys I used to work with, um, Jojo Kim and thing. That the man used to build with him, just building up Channel One and building Channel One all the time. Build it, build it, build it. And then, you know, Leon had all kind of rhythms and stuff, you know. And his
You're
brother
saying
was Chester.
his name is, I'm sorry that, but I want to make sure his name is Leon. Leon who?
Uh,
Leon. What's the last name?
I can't remember Leon last name, but Leon them used to make a whole of rhythms.
Okay.
And then what they used to do,
Yeah.
because they used to start, when Channel One just started, right, they was building rhythms all through the night. Licking rhythms, you know, with Barnabas them, you know, Sly, all kind of people, building rhythms. Like rubbish. You know, them time there was Barry Brown, them was recording all kind of people, Sugar Man at them was doing all kind of recording.
Yeah.
It was a night thing. It was a night rock. But eventually, you know, I realized that no, the thing that happened was, you know, Chester made so much effort to put out some of those tunes. But
Yeah.
up to this day, Chester died, you know, in Brazil.
Okay.
And never get to manifest his brother project. So you see, it's two brothers, but it's just that we wasn't living together, you know. So
Yeah.
that tune is called Living Together.
Yeah. It's a
That's a
great. So
good tune, man.
it's a
I
wicked.
wanna put that out. I wanna release it again, man.
I
It's a
hope you
good.
do. I hope you do because it's such a wicked.
Release it, man.
It's a wicked song.
I
You know,
might have to talk to Linval. I Linval, my voice a tune, man. I'm Barbara, my voice a whole tune for Linval, man.
I
Bag
I
a tune Linval have with me.
I sent that song, I sent that tune to Scientist the other day because he was, I said, hey, I'm gonna ask Earl about this tune because you mixed it and I listened to it and it's such a wicked tune. Do you remember
Mm.
working with Scientist at that time? I guess this must have been at Studio One, or no, not Studio One, Channel One, at Channel One, I think. Um,
Yeah.
is that where that song was recorded at Channel One?
No, man, Tubbies.
Oh, was it Tubby's? Okay, it was it
Yeah,
Tubby.
man.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, wow.
Well, scientists,
And what do
scientists not
you,
know.
yeah, what do you remember about scientists? Working with scientists during that time?
Scientists record some of the baddest Yabby you done through them.
He was,
Yabby you,
yeah,
Yabby you and the prophets. Yeah.
yeah. But
Scientists bias, don't have a bias when I scientist.
the
So,
scientist was so young then, but he was still, it seems like he was really very much in control
yeah,
of the
but you
studio.
know, the thing about it, Tubbs was always a man that was innovative. Tubbs would always be, close by.
Yeah,
So anytime Tubbs come in the studio, as a scientist, listen, tweak that one, man, touch that one. You see, anytime you see Tubbs come in the studio and touch the machine,
yeah.
that tune is gonna be a hit song. I'm telling you. Every time I see Tubbs come, the scientist was young and thing, but we used to support him, we used to do that with scientists, man. Me and we probably should among scientists. Like I'm telling you, majority of the songs that Yabi recorded was with scientists. The
Yeah.
majority of the vocals and stuff,
I mean,
you know.
when I listen back to those tunes from the 80s, I don't think that there's a better sound engineer than Scientist. I mean, those songs are so wicked,
My
um,
goodness, God.
and the mixes are so
Uh,
tight.
yeah, we did our best, because like we was like the I don't know the second generation and the third generation from the whole student innovation thing. Because to be fair, I think like before Tubbies,
Yeah.
there was Cox and
Treasure Island, Duke Reed. Oh, you froze up a bit. Hopefully you'll come back.
but before that on another level, you'd
Yeah.
probably say, like Dynamics Records and Federal
Yeah.
Records, you would say Harry G and stuff like that. But talking about engineers and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, it was interesting, it was interesting the whole innovation of the whole thing,
Now, when you
It
moved,
came out.
when you like we were talking about how you moved in the 80s, you relocated to the United Kingdom, you had children, and there's a reggae radio DJ who's in Nairobi. He's in Nairobi, Kenya, and
Yeah,
he's a big fan of yours.
right.
And his name, he's known as Rapcha, Rapcha, and he asked me specifically to ask you about
Right.
your stint at Ariwa Records, working with Mad Professor
Man,
on
Professor.
on one of your most loved albums, Babylon Walls. Can you
Yeah.
speak can you speak a bit about what it's like to work with Mad Professor as compared to someone else? What's it like to work with
Uh,
Mad Professor?
Man, Professor. Well, very interesting. Very, innovative. Because the thing about my prof is a man is always incorporating the sounds from the Caribbean, the sounds from all the I don't know the continents.
Yeah.
Professor Man will incorporate all the stuff,
Wow.
and so the thing about it for me to was working with Prof for me to be working with him was very interesting because when I started working with Prof, he just finished working with a guy called Jashaka, a man called Jashaka.
Yeah.
Prof was just building up his thing and working his thing and getting his thing together and getting it tight. Because the UK sound for reggae is not as uh, fundamental as Jamaican reggae sound.
Wow.
But live wise, Prof was trying to incorporate the whole live recording, getting the drums and blah blah blah.
Cool. Wow.
So when I started doing the album stuff, it was recorded live. Like when I used to work,
Babylon Waltz.
Babylon was recorded like yeah, with all the musicians in the studio and things like that.
Yeah.
See what
Cool.
I say?
Yeah.
So
Now,
it reminded me of working at, maybe Harry J's or Federal or something like that. A Tough Gang. When we used to work at Tough Gang, a Tough Gang no name Federal. No. Federal first, Federal studio where I
yeah.
recorded Malcolm X. I recorded about 6 or 8 tunes of a Federal studio.
Yeah.
You
There's,
know, what
yeah.
I mean by that is all the musicians performing together in one place.
Yeah.
Not just a computer thing I run. You know what I say?
Yeah. No, I do. And then so that's one of the things.
10 guys sit down and we work out what I do. We're doing this, we're doing that, blah blah blah. And that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
There's another reggae radio host and DJ. This time he's a fan of yours in Kampala, Uganda, and he
Oh my
goes
god.
he goes by the name of Blaze, and
Yes,
and
sir.
and he messaged me when he found out I was going to be interviewing you, and he said, quote, can you please ask? I'd like to know the differences between the Jamaican and UK reggae scene, especially with all of Earl Sixteen's experiences. And you started to talk about this a little bit just a second ago, but he really wanted you to focus on what's different between Jamaica and the UK for reggae.
You know what? Basically, because to be honest, we don't have a reggae scene anymore in Jamaica. Like, I don't think there is that kind of energy happening. Apart from, like, I did an album recently called Fittest with
Yeah,
some guys at Tough Gang Studio in Oakwood, right? At Beaumont Yard. And it was cool, it was good, it was good. It went all right. But the thing about the live recordings for reggae music I'm talking about in the UK, it's getting a little bit more, technology move on. The whole, you know, initial, futuristic music is moving on. So for me, I haven't been doing a lot of recordings in the UK.
okay.
So I've been doing a lot of tracks for producers from France and producers from, I don't know, Croatia. I just recorded a song for some guys from Miami. But so they're building their tracks in different energies, different eras.
Yeah,
With the last album I did was really good. The last track I did was a guy called uh, David, Zion High Records.
wow.
And so they're some of the guys that was working in Akabaka or something.
Eka Beka? Yeah,
Akabaka. Yeah.
yeah,
But fantastic musicians, man. I mean the rhythm tracks are amazing. They've got really a good vibe. But the thing is, you know, for us to really differentiate between Jamaica and the UK, there's not much to it's not much to split because everybody's working on the they're kind of working on the internet stuff. Or not
so
internet, but
it's not so
you know,
different. It's not so different right
it,
now.
it's not so different right now because we're all using the same drum patterns or whatever.
Yeah,
We're
same
not coming
technology.
fresh and bomb clock clean. You see what I say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
fresh and new and fresh and energy.
When was the last time that you went to Jamaica?
I've been to Jamaica for a long time.
Yeah. You still have family and friends there though, right?
I hope so. I
Yeah, I hear you.
hope I still got friends and family in Kenya too,
Yeah, yeah,
and in Africa too, and in California too, Steve.
Okay, yeah.
Have you heard from Thing? How is Roger Stephens, man? Do you know Roger?
Roger
Do you know?
Stephens, yeah, I'm actually going to be talking to Roger soon. He,
He's my family. He's my
yeah,
brother, man. I've been to his house. I spent some time with Roger.
I told him,
Have you seen his garage? Have you seen his?
yeah, his Bob Marley, all his stuff.
Hello.
Oh
Oh
man,
snap!
he
Oh
showed
crap!
me, he gave me a tour early on when I moved to California. He invited
Yes,
me to
sir.
his house, and I saw the reggae archives. All that stuff should be in
Yeah.
Jamaica.
Steve on the boss. No man, he cool, man. He cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Steve. So
Now,
what you say?
hey, Earl, I don't want to ask too many more questions. I know that it's getting late for you over there, and
No, man. You good, man. You cool, man. You cool. You
I don't
cool.
want
No
to
worries.
impose on you too much longer, but I hope that I do have a few more questions, but I hope that sometime at a later date, maybe we can pick up on some of the music that we don't cover today, maybe at some
Yes, Steve.
later time. But I want to start my last series of questions by asking about two other giants in reggae that we lost this year, Bunny Wailer and U-Roy. Starting with U-Roy, there are these two wonderful songs that you sing on your 2011 album, The Fittest, about the pitfalls and problems with the music business. And of course,
On the fix that piece.
yeah, despite all
Yeah.
the nastiness in the music business, you make it sound really sweet. It's track 9 on the album
Where the
called,
music
and
is destroyed.
the track is called This Ya Business. You know,
Yeah.
the track This Ya Business. And then it's immediately followed by the next track on the album. I think it's track 10. It's an awesome track. It's called the 12-inch Rockers version. And it's the same tune, but it features U-Roy. And it just takes it to a whole different level. And
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you if you remember, you know, working on that song with U-Roy, the 12-inch Rockers version on your album, The Fittest. And how did you end up collaborating with U-Roy on that song? Did you just call him up and say, hey, I have this song, I want you to work on it?
No. 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 That track was supposed to be done with Daddy Big Youth.
Oh,
Big Youth said that, boy, listen, you have to pay me $1,000 US, you know, to sing on the track. So I said, boy, blood clean. You know? I said that'll be you. You know what I'm saying? 'But you know, it wasn't a money thing, you know, it's like, you know, we were just trying to do it. That's why I really appreciated that you had it help us out, you know. You know, because him gave us a good price that we could work with. Because the album was almost nominated for a Grammy as well, man. The
Fittest?
fittest, a good album, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
you know,
really,
because
really,
I
it's a
covered a
really,
few tracks.
yeah.
I covered a few tracks on the album, and I covered a wicked tune named Now the Changes Come.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the same producers was producing a singer from Israel Vibration was called he passed away now. You know, the name is called Just Solid Rock, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the producer album, man.
Yeah. And he's
Wicked
in the
tune, man.
Netherlands, in the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
But that song was wicked, man. That song, Music Business.
yeah, it's super sweet song where you
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
the song with U-Roy, he basically
Got it
is,
right. Touched up nice.
yeah, he's listing all the greats in reggae, all the
Yeah.
great musicians and groups in reggae U-Roy is talking about and basically saying we need some more music like this. It's a great song. It's really, really great. And then earlier this year, also, Earl, you released a tribute track that was dedicated to Bunny Wailer, who tragically passed. It's a nice track. It's called Don Dada, and everyone should check that. Everyone should check that out. And despite having done some research, I wasn't sure, but did you ever get the chance to record any songs with any of the original Wailers, with Bunny or Peter or Bob? Did you ever record any songs with them? Either,
No,
individually?
no. I used to rehearse with Bob though.
You
I
used to
used to do a
rehearse with
lot of
them?
rehearsals.
Where would you rehearse with them?
Island House, man. Island House, we should call it.
Island? You say Island House?
Yeah.
Island House.
Island House was where Tough Gun Studio is now.
Oh, okay.
On Hope Road, huh?
And
We used to rehearse, me and a Belgian called Richie McDonald. Richie McDonald, me, Richie, and Ruffy and Tough and them, you know?
yeah.
I used to hang out with Bob a lot.
And between Bunny and Peter and Bob, who did you know the best? Who did you talk to the most?
Oh, I never really spoke to much of those guys, man. I used to run around with Peter them and stuff, but I
I'm sorry?
wasn't really a big fan of. I wasn't not a big fan, but yeah, I think I spoke to Bob the most.
Bob? Yeah.
Mm.
And
I
and
used to
is
go. I used to go. Like Kentucky and stuff for Bob. They used to send us to go by Kentucky for Steve them and the kids and stuff. Or send us to get ice cream for the kids.
wow.
Yeah. The
But
boys, my kids need some food. You go and get me some food. And they give us a bundle of money and we go and get them.
so you
You know?
remember going to get food for Bob and whoever was hanging around with him. Is
No,
that
no, no, no. Just for Bob's kids.
just for Bob's kids?
No, we used to cook around Bob. We used to cook for Bob, man. We used to cook for Bob and things.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. What's your best memory of Bob?
My best memory of Skipper Gang was him coming to a dance that we was performing at the Students' Union in the University of the West Indies
Wow.
in Papine. No, it's Papine. And he
Yeah.
brought a dub plate to play for us called Rainbow Country.
Wow. I love that song, Rainbow Country.
First tune that's the first time that tune was ever played, at the Students' Union. It was the university, like in the university,
Yeah.
we used to have a hall where we play every college
An auditorium. Auditorium.
auditorium.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a song called Jalove International. It was playing there every Friday night.
And Bob came in and played Rainbow Country.
Bob, Bob bring a dub plate, vinyl dub. Because in Jamaica, at those times, right, they never used to play Bob Marley music on the radio,
Yeah.
But that was very interesting because that that time Bob came and he brought so much drink that I never seen so much drink before. That in those days, in late 70s,
Yeah.
Bob brought out the bar. Before Sugar Man had sing a song called "Bar at the Bar," Bob Marley was the first man we see buy out the bar. The students, the man buy cases and cases and cases of Heineken and beer
Oh
and stuff.
wow. Wow.
Bob was a crazy guy. And he don't drink. He drink, I think Bob had one little Guinness or something.
So
But he
it
said,
was
look,
more. It was more for everyone else. The
he just
beer.
wanted to make sure you play my tune. That's all he wanted. He didn't want to travel. he said, he, he said to that, because Allah was the selector.
Yeah.
Allah. So he said, Allah, make sure you play that tune before I leave here tonight. And Bob had about 20 gunmen beside him.
So
So Allah, we have to play quick and fast.
he would put the pressure. Bob would put the pressure on.
Yeah, man, Bob used to put on the pressure upon them, man. You
Now,
play me tune or not?
Earl, there's only two more questions I have for you, honestly, two or three. And again, I want to thank you so much for being so patient with me and for all this time you spent with me. The reggae fans will love to hear all this. Now, the first question I want to ask comes from Selected Jerry. He's the host of the very popular reggae radio show called Sounds of the Caribbean.
Yes,
And Selected Jerry, he asked me specifically to ask you, quote, please ask Mr. 16 about the new Jacqueline rhythm and how he sings the title track in Hugh Mondell style.
Yeah, man, that's a good tune, isn't it? That's a nice tune.
It
That's
is-
a tune. That's
it is
from
a like-
Jamaica. I heard about. But yeah, about it. No, man, Jacqueline tune was from Gaffer Blue them. Gaffer Blue them was some guys in the UK here.
Yeah.
Mafia and Flux them Billy Rhythm and team.
Well, when
And
you
because I did a track before that was called None of Treasure Children I Cry, which was a very interesting version of the Ross Michael copy of that, you know, None of Treasure Children. So I did a tune on that one called Freedom,
yeah.
Fight for Freedom, which is, about the Black Lives Matters and all that stuff, which was good. That was a good rendition as well. But it was, taken from that same None of Treasure Children.
Yeah.
But this next one that Gaffer asked us to do was on Jacqueline Rhythm, which is so immaculate. The way they recorded it.
Yeah. You can
Yeah, man. So
yeah. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Folks can listen to it. There's like a 15-minute version of the Jacqueline rhythm.
But tune from Mundell, man, and Mundell La Fire, man. I think a jamism do that rhythm. A jamism do that tune, if John July, I can't remember, but it was a wicked tune, no? But Mundell was like myself, unsung heroes, unsung, well, not heroes, but those people that, will just come to and run the thing.
And
You see what I'm saying? So,
Hugh Mondell was what I've read, and I don't know if it's true or not, but is it accurate that Hugh Mondell, before he passed away, was somebody who really got you into Rasta? That he kind of was one of the people that talked to you about Rastafari early on?
Man. Yeah, man. Mundell was, I'm like a soldier them,
Yeah.
I was a soldier them, and we tried a long way, man. Mundell was a very interesting, it was very nice, it was an art craft to youth, he used to make stuff from leather. Mundell could make things from bamboo leaves and stuff. You'd make a lot of, like hammocks and stuff.
He was he was a craftsman.
A craftsman, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could make he used to make a lot of leather purses, passport purses and stuff like that. Mundell was very crafty, man, like that.
And he was also, it sounds like he was also very spiritual.
Yeah, Mundell was just a weed, man. I love weed, man. I'm born weed hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Mundell was the first man, me see, with a thing called tobacco leaf. Spliff.
Tobacco leaf spliff.
Yeah, so in Jamaica we have the tobacco leaf. Jamaica have some of the strongest tobacco, you know that?
Yeah.
Jamaica cigar them is very expensive.
I'm not sure I did know that, but I believe you.
Jamaican cigar is almost as strong, almost as expensive as Cuban cigar.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But we used to go in on the river, go in some bushes, and pick the leaf them and make them dry. And then before them get dry and crispy. So before Rizla was selling them, because Rizla leaf used to sell in Jamaica for like $2 per leaf. One leaf of Rizla, sheet of Rizla. No, we can't buy a Rizla, for $5 or whatever, or $2.
Right.
But the whole leaf, you could buy one cigarette, you could buy a cigarette, or you could buy But we used to, make a split from banana leaf, all kind of thing, roll a split. But Mundell used to come with some tobacco leaf. And I said, bubbly it. Virgin. And then now you see them split there, Steve.
Yeah.
When you roll a split in a tobacco leaf, right? Between there, you're ready for the whole night. You feel nice for the whole night or for the whole day.
Right.
I'm telling
Right.
you,
Right.
it was very unique. One day was a very unique youth. But yeah, man, I we did do the wrong things then. We go
And
pick up women, take more time here.
now I also, like I mentioned, Selecta Jerry, I didn't even know about the Jacqueline rhythm until he told me about it, and I went to go
Yeah,
look
man,
at
man.
it. And there's so much new music. When I went to go look, you are consistently, Earl, you're consistently putting out new music. I mean, it can be hard to keep up with you because you have so many new projects that come out. I mean, for example, I know there's
I mean, so
another. I
we
know, I
can't
know
keep
you
up with
have.
myself.
Yeah, I know you have another release that came out. I think it's a digital release from Dub Propulsion Records out of California. It's called Upville Vibes. It's a collaboration of sort that you did with Ross Gabriel. Do you
Oh
know?
man, that was during the lockdown time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
super.
that's interesting. No, no, because it was very depressing for us, For the
Yeah,
past 18 months, or I don't know, the past 24, the past 2 years, man.
yeah.
So when you sent me that rhythm, I thought about doing something like that.
The Upville Vibes. Oh,
Hoping that we'll be able to return back to something normal. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't even listened to that tune yet. It released?
Yeah, it's you can listen to it, and Reggae Vibes
What?
put it on. They actually reviewed it very favorably. They wrote an article
Yes,
about it. Reggae Vibes.
yes.
Yeah, yes,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
I
You
must
gotta
check
check.
it. I must check it.
I'll
Because I
send it
haven't
to
heard
you.
it back. Yeah, send it to me, please.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. And then,
Yeah, man.
Earl, are there any new music projects on the horizon? Music that you want to let all your fans, and other, the music loving world, just everybody, what should they be aware of about the projects that you're working on for the rest of this year and going into next year? What
Man.
projects do you have?
Basically, now I'm literally just
You mentioned you're going to put out an album of your old music, right?
yeah, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. But the thing is now, because of the whole situation we've going through a place I think called the Brexit.
Yeah,
So we've got issues with sending records back and forth through customs and stuff like that, and stuff. And then so that's kind of put a pressure on all the pressing plants in the UK because I used to press in France, like I used to be able to press in Germany, Croatia, not Croatia, Czech Republic. The Czech
yeah,
Republic was very, good quality pressing and stuff. But for now, because of the whole Brexit thing that's happening in Europe now, so we have to wait to do all the pressing in the UK. So there's a lot of
of stuff. Yeah,
um, backlog of stuff because through the pandemic and all that, and then a lot of the major record labels they're starting to repress, like all the old David Bowie stuff. They're pressing all you know, you know, when everybody dies, like, Rolling Stones now, I'm sure they're going to be pressing. Uh, I think basically the vinyl is getting a little bit uh, interesting again, you know,
yeah,
because we went through an era where vinyl wasn't that great. It was CD. CD wasn't that great. Then we come to download, online and all that. But then people are going back to vinyl, which is
yeah,
what reggae is. Reggae is mainly a vinyl thing. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
In your face, it's reggae, it's roots. It's not the same thing like, I don't know, Spice or Senshi or Buju Banton or Popcorn and stuff. You see, it's reggae.
yeah,
That we deal with. We deal with roots.
yeah.
So we have to go through that process. But for me now, I've got a new showcase just came out, and I think Spotify or something. Um, with myself, Johnny Osborne, Jennifer Lara. It's like a nostalgic kind of thing that we just released.
Cool.
out there. You know,
Wow.
yeah, man, I'm there, man. It's just me. It's Earl 16, but in 2022, I won't be 16 anymore, so they might not see me. You might not see me anymore. I might go sleep with scratch or something.
Oh
You know.
man, please don't say that. No, 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 no. We need to
I'm
keep,
gonna,
we need
I'm
to
gonna
hold,
switch
we need
switch
to
up the
hold,
ball game.
no, no,
Switch up
no,
the
no.
game.
We need to hold on to our
Oh
reggae
my God.
legends. We need to
Yeah,
hold
yeah,
on.
yeah.
We need our
I
reggae
mean,
legends to stay
now
healthy,
listen.
bro.
No, you know what? We give thanks. We give thanks for life, man. I'm
Yeah.
really grateful, Steve. I'm really grateful. I'm just saying that, because I was so close to Mr. Perry and the man, and even the whole what do you call it, the whole reggae scene, the whole
Yeah.
root scene.
Yeah.
So it's difficult now because even for us to travel and keep moving and stuff it's gonna take a while because
Well,
I haven't been to America. I can't remember since the last time. I
it's
haven't did the tour in America for a long time, man.
it's sad because I would love to see you perform. And if I ever make it to the UK again, I'm gonna search you out. I'm gonna find out where you are.
Man, Stevie might
And
have a problem because I've got some shows coming up in Spain and Holland. I'm never around in the UK, man. You might be lucky to catch me unless you're coming for a football match or something or a cricket match or something like that.
well, trust me, I will
Well, when you coming,
if
you
I
let me know. Tell me when you come.
I'll let you know well ahead of time. And
Yes, sir.
Earl, just
Yes, sir.
please stay in touch with me. I would like to talk to you again. There's so much music
Oh yeah,
that
brilliant, brilliant.
there's so much music I still haven't asked you about. I mean, like for example, I just mentioned I don't have a question for you, but just to tell you how much I love the song. But
Which one?
you did that song that cover of Simply Red's Holding Back the Years.
Oh
And
wow,
that song, your cover of it, I love it. I mean,
amazing though.
it's such an
That was
amazing.
good. That was a good tune, man. That was a good tune.
It was
Nah,
a
man.
good, it was a
So we
good
did we
tune.
did all right with that one because the thing about it, in back in the days, we could get away with doing covers and stuff, like covering a
Yeah,
track from here and there and stuff. But nowadays you can't do it. You have to pay to press a cover version and stuff. You have to talk to the publishers and stuff like that.
you have to get a lot more approvals, a lot more red tape.
Yes, sir. But you see, with that track, it was a great track because the thing about the singer of that time, he was the one that built Burn and Fire label. He was so interested in reggae music that he invested in it. You
Wow.
know, he did a cover of Red Razak, uh, Night Nurse, which went number one for him. You
Simply
know,
Red did. Simply Red, the guy Simply
yes, he
Red.
did.
Yeah.
Simple Red.
Wow.
And he also did a very wicked cover of a Dennis Brown tune. And Simple Red, he invested in reggae. He put in his effort. It's like
Wow.
a couple of guys over here in the UK. They're kind of invested in. So when I did a cover of All About the Years, I didn't know what I was doing. But then, I got into problems because I didn't put myself as a rapper. 'Cause obviously, I know it was the Cockney song, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but yeah, man,
it's
that
it's
fool that
a
was cool, man.
it,
Man, I
it's
was
a
grateful.
well, it's a lovely little
I'm
song.
grateful, man.
When
Toast it, toast it.
next time when we chat, I will ask you more about that. And Earl, when we hang up, after we say goodbye,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna message you some more information about the publication of this interview. I'm gonna give you
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna send you some messages. But before we say our final official goodbye for today, for right now, is there any
Yes, Papa.
last message? Is there any last message that you want to share with all of the many, many, people who love your music around the world, all the Earl 16 fans? Do you have a message that you want to tell them?
Well, no, no. The thing is that I'm not grateful. We give thanks for what we be able to do. in this time from the past and into the future. I don't know. I support the roots and culture of the life, love, and music for the international the people of the world.
Yeah.
Reggae will come to be a part of the Diamond League. We're the top league now. We will come to be the real league. But
Reggae is. Yeah.
reggae is the major league in the major league.
Yeah.
So we're grateful for that. Like Bob Marley tune is still Bob Marley legend is still the hardest thing for them to move from the top 100.
Yeah, they can't move it.
I know. Well, no, I'm really grateful to be able to link up with you, Stephen. And yeah, man, I miss California, man. I want to come forward again next
Well,
time.
hey, you're invited.
Seaside Station.
Yeah. Zion Station.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Hey,
Yeah.
Earl.
Yeah.
Hey, Earl. You have an
Yes,
invitation anytime you want. When you come to California, let me know. Please let
oh,
me
yes,
know.
please.
You come to my
Yeah, man,
house.
yeah, man, yeah, man.
I will take care of you.
Big up to Matt from Matt Colleton from what do they call himself? Hispanics and the whole Dub Club crew.
Yeah.
Big up to scientists and everything. Big up to all the crew from New York, East, West, North, and South. Yeah, man. And take care. Take care, Stephen.
Respect, Earl. We'll be in touch, my friend. Stay safe, my brother.
God bless, man. Thank you very
Bless.
much. One love.
One love.
Thank you.